evening, everyone.
Hi, good evening.
And welcome to this evening's Zoom session of the OS Multilingual Poetry Group. We have an excellent lineup this evening. Am I audible firstly? Is it okay?
Yes.
Yes. But a little louder, please. A little louder.
You see, I got a bit of a bad throat, but I'll try to be a little louder. So we have an excellent lineup of 9 recitations today. Some are own compositions and some are compositions of other poets. And they are in Hindi and English. So without much ado, let's launch. Now the first person on the list is, to set the ball rolling, is Arun Chadda, Nilgiri, 1954. He is our elder statesman. And in army parlance, we would call him the Gaon Buddha. In Northeast.
Thank you. That's a privilege to be called that. I really mean it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Sure.
Let me tell them a little more about you, those who logged in, other than our own group. Arun went to study engineering in USA and decided not to come back. He had a sterling career and retired as a vice president of a division of Honeywell. After that, even before that rather, he got into poetry many years ago. He joined writers groups in Chicago, started writers group in Chicago, and continues doing that in Florida now. And he has contributed to something, his poems and prose to something like 20 or more chapbooks. What I had written about Arun when I first heard his compositions, I had written then that then we have our friend Arun. With his pen, he goes boom, boom. Living far in a distant land, he is good with the written hand. Amongst us, he is the senior most. And to his compositions, I raise a toast. And today he will be, his poem is titled The House That Marriage Built. Interesting title, The House That Marriage Built. So what do you, Arun?
Yeah, thank you. Actually, I have 2 poems. One is the Alliance, which is on marriage and engagement, and the two are related. And what I want to share is that I will read the 2 poems and I'd look forward to your comments after that. My daughter Simi got married in 2001 in Chicago. The editor of the Family magazine happened to attend. She interviewed us and published it. And here it goes. The House That Marriage Built. Father's prayer and wishes on daughter's wedding. Find God's little acre, serene, peaceful, with a bedrock soil of character. Dig the foundations deep. Fill it with trust and confidence, each in the other. Fashion the outside with love, strong and resolute, strengthened by strong timber of friendships. Satan with evil winds of jealousy, anger, lightning, strikes of greed, thunder, and fear cannot even rattle the windows of the house that marriage built. Wide open doors filled with generosity, open hearts and hearts for anyone less fortunate to share your largesse. Decorate home with God's presence. Let goodness, not ostentatiousness, be your guiding light. Partake blessings of Mother Earth, only your due, not hog or be selfish. Let wisdom illumine every room. Let the mantle of respect for the elders be embroidered with humility and understanding. A roof of muscle and sinew, rippling with strength to thwart torrential rains, hailstorms, vagaries of the economy. No bank mortgage for the house that marriage built. Its papers are engraved on the hearts of those within. Let caring and sincerity be the comforting rugs. In love seats that grace your rooms. Leave the sleet snow of remorse and guilt outside. Immortalize your wholesomeness. Bring forth progeny that does you proud, like we are. Bask in the sunshine of bliss. There is joy without a reason. I'll read my Alliance, which is related to this. Just imagine this. 2 freewheeling spinners, wheels on the tarmac of life. Moving, swaying, falling, changing directions with each whim and fancy, impact with every sense, an alliance. Adds a spindle, the axle, the chariot strength to face the vagaries of life, counsel to weigh the options of purpose evolves, the canopy fashioned by aged, withered hands of ancestors, parents, cushioning with wisdom and experience. From the searing noonday heat, from torrential rains and hurricanes that come and go on the sky of life. Excitement, anticipation of the phases of life, restraint from the frivolous freedom of yesterday, the mind's eye recalling the joys and anguish of parenting from the child's perspective, now facing the other side. The film of life, rolling forward to graduations, proms and job changes and infatuations. And once again, the alliance comes about. The cycle of life repeats. New spinners fashioned from old, the terrain somewhat different and yet the same. The laws of nature applying universally, on and on. Thank you.
Excellent, Arun. Excellent. This is both of them, as you said, interlinked and convey a lot of meaning.
Really enjoyed that, Arun. And kind of do tell us what was the, I mean, of course, we understand the thought behind it, but a little bit more as in the inspiration behind the whole thing.
Well, it's like showing off a little bit, but my daughter, the one who got married, she won the Miss India Universe. So what happened is that I wanted to make sure that she understood that life was not showing off, the life was actually delivering. So actually she went to India and she met a lot of people and did a lot of good, while she was there. So what happened is I just want to make sure that my son-in-law and her started life with something that from us that would, explain to them what we wanted them to be, because better than us, obviously. So thank you very much for asking that question. I'm so glad and so grateful to the Lord, and so wonderful to have joined such a wonderful group here to be able to express myself as well. I want to thank you all for listening to me. Appreciate it.
Okay, so next we have Anjum Siddiqui, Nilgiri, 1987. And she is reciting all the way from Toronto. First we had USA and now Toronto. और अंजुम की तारीफ क्या करें? She is an accomplished artist, curator, art teacher, singer, sitarist, and actor, just to name a few of the things she does. Although she studied at the Delhi College of Art, she learned the nuances from none other than the legendary M.F. Hussain. We're very lucky to have him as a tutor. And what I did not know, I just learned the other day, is that she has also published 2 books on artworks. Quiet on this. I don't think anybody else knew, but am I right on this? I think you have published 2 books. Arun told me that you published. Yeah, there you are. That is humbleness. Nobody knows. But thank God somebody said it. And before I hand over to her, what I had written about her, अंजुम की क्या करें तारीफ, जितनी अच्छी कवियत्री उतनी है शरीफ. She didn't like the Sharif bit that time, I remember. लिखती हैं खूब और गाती हैं गाना और आता है इनको सितार भी बजाना. इस वक्त ये हैं कनाडा के निवासी पर दिल में अब भी है भारत बसी. So she is going to recite next, and the title is very interesting again, Waiting. One word, waiting. Over to you, Anjum.
Thank you, Mr. Sandhu. Well, this is a little different from what I usually write or in the language I usually write. I've written a piece in English and it's a little dark. It is a time when my heart was heavy with seeing all the prejudices in the world. And it's not pertaining to a certain incident, but a whole lot of incidents, and which reveals the ugly side of a man. I don't mean a man like man, I mean like human, like mankind. And we have so many, I don't know if you're following, like my heart's been quite heavy with, almost like 5,000 children found dead in the residential school, their graves being dug up. And, it's like, how can someone be so callous, so unfeeling? And just because we look different and just because we speak different or something, well, let me not get too much into it. Here is my poem, Waiting. Waiting on a single star, inky black sky tonight. The world in slumber, unbeknownst my plight. As I twisted and turned, sleepless all night. Waiting for the brave to douse this inferno ablaze. The pyre of humanity fills the frigid air tonight. Swirling smoke, spewing anger with its rise. Waiting for a change. This is not my tribe, where belligerence is highly praised and benignity a stranger to constantly deride. Waiting to see an end to this laborious trial, as the frenzied, glazed eyes huddle to jeer, the cry of the broken, a whimper, a tear. Waiting for the soothing touch of a hand, the warmth of which reaches the eyes. A sliver of hope in troubled times will suffice. So a sliver of hope is any little thing that you can contribute. Don't think it's not.
Very sad and very touching.
Thank you.
Words. And you are spot on. You have assessed the situation pretty well. And I think you really expressed yourself very well. Sad though, but that's what it is. Thanks for the lovely poem that you read out.
Thank you, Major Sanjay.
Anjum, that was very nice, really. Quite enjoyed it, and a lot of depth in the poem itself. Very nice.
Anjum,
thank you.
Can I say something?
Please.
That sounded like a poem I was going to write.
Exactly. I was going to say it's like kind of your inspiration, but
like RB's poems.
You're right. Yes.
And they are not dark, they are real. That's all.
Real, correct.
I think, the word dark is, you should not ever use it. It's never, nothing is dark. It's all factual.
When you are in a dark place, I guess it's probably
no, what I mean is when we say dark poem.
Yeah.
I meant it that way.
Right.
The world is dark, separate issue, things are wrong. There's darkness all around for various reasons, but I think you captured it very, very well. That's all I can say. Excellent.
Thank you, Mr. Tandu. Thank you so much.
So, yeah. Should we go to the next?
I just want to say that it was very deep. It was very touching, but most importantly, it's like how she expressed herself. I think that really, took it to the next level.
I agree with you. I agree with you. She expressed herself so well that she almost broke down herself.
Yeah.
And the other thing is she almost made me break down also. Okay. अगली कविता पढ़ेंगी नम्रता गुप्ता सूद जो विंध्या 1993 बैच की हैं। नम्रता होशियारपुर में रहती हैं और डिजाइनर वेयर का स्टूडियो चलाती हैं। So all you ladies get in touch with her for your wardrobes. You know who to catch now. आप एक certified Reiki trainer भी हैं. So that's another accomplishment. Totally different from what she's doing otherwise. 4-5 साल से कविता लिख रही हैं और कुछ कविता publish भी कर चुकी हैं. Most of us, I mean, she's got a leap over us in publishing poems. इनकी कविता का नाम है very interesting again. Shabd, interplay of words. Over to you, Amrita.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you everyone for giving me this opportunity. I'm delighted to be here. Today I will be reciting a Hindi poem titled Shabd. This I composed a few years back. And the thought was like, who among us has not experienced the magic and power of words? Since our birth till death, we keep on experiencing the vibrational energy of words in one way or another. I hope that through this poem, I would be able to convey the various types of feelings that these words are able to weave around us. Okay. So without any further ado, this is my poem, शब्द. भावनाओं में लिपटे ये शब्द, कभी आंसुओं को छिपाते तो कभी खुशी में सराबोर ये शब्द, कहीं प्यार का सागर उमड़ाते तो कभी किसी की हस्ती ही मिटाते ये शब्द. ये सब शब्दों का ही तो खेल है, किसी को राह दिखाते, किसी की चाह को सहलाते. शब्द हैं तो रिश्ते हैं, एहसास करो तो फरिश्ते हैं, वरना सब तिल तिल ही रिश्ते हैं.
Short
Thank
and
you.
sweet. Short and sweet.
I
And-
tried to increase the poem,
and-
but I felt that the original one was better than
No.
the other
It's,
one.
by the way, Namrita, it is very good, and it conveys what people normally say. No, it's not for any reason that people say think before you speak, because words which flow out of your mouth can work either way, positively, negatively, and you brought that part out.
Thank
From
you.
the essay
Very
to essay.
sharp poem. It was a very
Absolutely. So I think
Thank you.
it was very good.
Thank you.
Enjoyed it thoroughly, Namrata. Very
Thank
nice.
you, ma'am. Thank you.
Actually, we had a head start in the sense we heard you yesterday, other day, so a bit of
So
cheating
I
here.
did actually increase it on Rajiv sir's
This is a bit of cheating,
and I
but
felt that this one was better than the one that I tried to.
it's very good. Very good.
Thank you so much. Sir.
It's very difficult to convey so much in so less, less space. As long as you manage to convey so much of whatever you want to say in your poem. So now is next, and guess who it is? It's me. And I will be reciting, I've chosen to recite tonight a poem which is titled Dagroo, Ode to a Mountain Stream. This poem was written or started writing, the man who wrote this poem started writing 77 years ago. So you can imagine how old this poetry is, this poem is. And it was written by an old Sanarian by the name of John Jack Harper, who studied in Sanar from 1940 to 44. It was sent to me by Derek Boddington, whose website you all know. And I asked him to tell me a little more about the person who had written it. He was a dear friend of his, though they were in different classes. And this is what he told me about Jack Harper. He said Jack was considered very brainy and excelled in English literature and language. And that will stand out in his poem, provided I can recite it properly. He was also a keen debater and a member of the drenched society. And very few of us could really become full-time members of that debating society. He was also a school bugler and a good long-distance runner. Not many could outrun him in the long Hodgsons, as they were then called. But now we had just one word, long Hodgson runs. That time they had long Hodgsons and short Hodgsons. He was a chorister. That's in both the choirs. He was a chorister in both the school chapels. That is at Sanar later, and earlier at Lawrence School, Ghoragali, from where he came to Sanar. Many people came in that route. They couldn't get admission in Sanar, so they first went to Ghoragali and then they came this way. Most of all, he was a true lover of nature, and every moment of his free time was spent roaming and exploring the hills, ravines, gullies, and forests of the surrounding countryside that he so loved. And this shows up very clearly, by the way, this shows up very clearly in this poem. He made a great career in the civil services in Australia and sadly passed away in February 2019 at the age of 89 years. 2 years ago, he passed away. And I consider it an honor and privilege to recite his poem, a poem of an old Sanarian who writes so beautifully on Dagroo. Now, just before I recite the poem, some of us old timers, I don't know till when it continued, but certainly when Vinay was there, I was there, perhaps when Rajiv was there. Every year on 15th of April, we had a Foundation Day picnic, and that was to Dagroo. Every year we went to Dagroo only.
Yeah.
We walked down in the morning, spent the whole day fun and frolic, and came back in the evening, walked back. And this is a place, it's a nice little stream, a rivulet on the road between Dharampur towards Sabatu, not far from Dharampur. And there are, you have deep pools there where you can jump in. There are rocks from where you can jump. And then there are pine trees, there are slopes, etc. But what he's written about Dagroo is of the pre-47 times, when the school around Easter used to establish a tented campsite over there. They stayed there for something like 7 to 8 days. And then they did all these activities, which he tries to capture here. And he's given some names which I was unaware of. There are names which will come into this, but I won't cover them all, otherwise I'll be just talking. I'll come straight to the point. Dagroo, ode to a mountain stream. All round the camp, wild roses blow, a fragrant wind-tossed bank of snow. Alive with birds and round about, the little silent tents peep out. Their curious peaks as if to show the reason for the noise below. In Massey's valley, clear and cool, where waters move from pool to pool. In tinkling melody or sleep, in drowsy shadows deep beneath the pines the long day through. And down in hearts, the fish dive deep, in panic fear or silent creep. Beneath the rocks to watch with round inquiring eye. Lithe limbs that there from bouncers rock invite the cooling water's shock. And all the air from quiet bridge, right up to where the utmost ridge stands clear and black against the sky, is filled with youthful laugh and cry. While fellows fish and bathe and lie, and lays around in happy, rare, fitful, fragrant breeze over there. Comes the grave, imperial and fine, dim, memorial scent of pine. And oh, the long, unmixed delight in the hushed and scented night. Slowly to swim about the pool and feel the healing touch and cool. Caress of water while the hill looms more vaguely huge until the veils of evening dropping slow fades all trace of sunset glow. Dear heaven, to see again the streamlets twist down purple cudside crowned with mist. All through the shimmering veil again of soft baptismal silvery rain. To feel once more upon one's lips the sweet spring water as it drips through moss and fern. Say now, standeth still below the bridge the ruined mill? And are there still the groves of pine all broken through the eglantine? And where the morning freshness calls, do fellows still climb up the falls? Still in eastern skies are born those lilac tints that come with dawn? And doth the love of simple things sway greatly hearts and sing the vocal air when moving through the wood? And is the sky still just as blue? Great scheme, I'll go and see and find the peace that pleaseth me. He ends with this, great scheme, I'll go and see and find the peace that pleaseth me. This is where the poem ends, but you'll notice that the poem is 3 parts. First is that he explains Dagroo and the activities. The last paragraph, the big one, is that he's remembering Dagroo and asking, is it still there? Is this there? Is that there? The last one, he says, I want to go back again. And he did come back again in the 90s, fortunately. He visited the school again. And the last point here is that, or the second last point, below this poem, the person who sent it to me, Derek, he's put it in his website and he's written there as an author's note. He said, Jack started this poem during his last year at Sanar. I still have a transcription of his first 2 handwritten verses. I don't know when he finished the poem, but judging by the reminiscent and nostalgic vein of his last few stanzas, I guess it was some many years after he left in 1944. The poem appeared in full for the first time in the 2000 edition of the Old Scenarian magazine and is presented here on these pages as a lasting memorial, personal tribute to a good friend, true nature lover, and kindred spirit. And below his page where he writes all this, there's a visitors gallery sort of thing where you can write. Now, somehow, Jack Harper, who wrote this poem, saw this on that page. And guess what he wrote there? He says, Derek, thanks for the memories. But that's one part. But after that, what he writes? 4 lines. Why is it so that a hand's breadth span of years in a long life should haunt us more than other cherished long dead times? Drawn ever back and back to the idyll of pine-clad hills, to the sigh and perfume of conifer Jack. It talks of a hand's breadth worth of memories in the whole lifespan, which he spent in Sanaa, and his thinking of it all the time. And that's why I thought I must, as a tribute to this old Scenarian, old Scenarian, who's no more, what a fine poetry he wrote. I don't think I did justice in reading it out, but the poem itself, I will share with you all. You will love it. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. That was lovely.
You know what I liked was the use of the word khad side.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Still the same. We still say khad side.
They said khad side, then imagine. They use a lot of Indian words, by the way, Hindi words.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was quite delightful.
Yeah.
That was
In this
lovely.
poem only.
That was very nice.
So can I request you to send me his comment in the end, the 4 lines?
Yeah, I will.
Because
I
I'm
will.
including this poem in the Tales of Sanar. And
Wow.
I have the author's note also, but I don't have what he said. So if you could.
Yeah, I'll put that. I got everything from him, so I'll put that.
Thank you.
And I think it was, I mean, you just imagine this man. Ever since I read the poem first time, I've just been thinking about what he was thinking then when he started writing the poem. So anyway.
I have to say something, Mr. Sandhu.
Yeah.
You've chosen such an appropriate platform to express this because we all connected with it. Now, we didn't go to Dagroo. I know a lot of people did. We went to a place called Gora. So I would like to revisit that place where we went in our childhood, I would say. So lovely. Really.
By the way, we did go there for picnics. I still remember.
We went for picnics.
Yes, you did. Yeah. Many of you did.
We did.
You have a direct connection to it.
Yep.
So the point
we would catch
is
little
that
fish and bring them back. We would catch little fish over there.
Yeah,
it was wonderful.
Arun, Vinay, and I, we are of that vintage. So
yes, we are of that vintage when we went there.
Lovely.
And Balbir, right?
Arun, we camped. We used to camp at Dagroo for 5 days every spring.
Yeah.
It was amazing. You know, I don't. My memory is failing me, but I do remember going to that Dagroo and getting.
Yeah.
We skated down to Dagroo one time, rattling our bones.
Oh wow, that sounds good.
From Dharampur to Dagroo.
But you know, you can take us out of Sanar, but you can't take Sanar out of us.
That's for sure.
Yeah, really, it's something which is so ingrained in us that people who are not Sanarians, like some of our spouses, oh God, my husband would say, make me the head of the anti-OS society. I hate you people.
It was home, Vinay. It was home. We
really
out of a year, we
was.
just went to our real home for like 3 months in a year.
Yeah, exactly.
The rest of the time we were in school, sleeping, drinking, eating.
Yeah.
But Dagroo is a special place for people of that time because I've got at least 3 accounts of Dagroo in those tales.
And Dagroo was lovely, Pankaj. It was beautiful.
I don't know if you were there when this happened. Harjeet Kochar, I think, has sent this.
Yes,
okay.
Yes.
When
he was in my class too.
Yeah, so Nanku went down on a cycle into the stream.
and then started cycling in the water.
Yeah.
No.
Lovely.
Anyway, this took a little longer because everybody associates with Sinar. So
Oh, yes.
next is Amrita Varma, Himalaya, 1997, the lady with the flower tonight. I wish her poem was also about the flower, but anyway. She is multi-talented with a resume hard to recall because it's too long. She has taught art in Sanskriti School, New Delhi, managed an art gallery, been an art advisor and consultant, founder, editor-in-chief of an art magazine, art curator, and is now an AVP at the RNZ Foundation. And whatever I just said thus far, please multiply into 2. That much more I didn't say. There are many more things. But what her resume does not cover is 2 things. One, which is all there for us to see right in front, is a winsome smile. And the other is her quick responses and repartees, due to which she has been given the nickname Quick Gun Murugan, or even simply Q. And about her, I had written that time, ये है हमारी अमृता, लिखती हैं सुंदर कविता, इनकी वाक्यों में है इतना जोश कि उड़ जाते हैं सबके होश, आपकी मुस्कुराहट की क्या करें हम बात, वो स्माइल कर देती है सबकी मात. She has the most winsome smile which spreads its aura for over a mile. Quick in response and full of fun. No wonder she's called Quick Gun Murugan. She's going to recite a poem called Wind. I think today people have got one line, one word kind of titles. Over to you, Amrita.
Yeah. Thank you, General. I don't know if I deserve a lot of what General says, but I think we all have a lot of fun together, and we've come to know each other so well that we actually vibe as one family now. But coming to the poem, usually I write my own, and as General has said, I do write a lot of poetry on my own. But today I thought I'd recite something from SUBRAMANIAM BHARTI, who was one of the, he's lesser known, but he was one of those poets who was during the British Raj, and he was born during that time, and he was a journalist. He was multi-talented also, and he had like 14 languages he knew, but he was basically charged for some sedition or something by the British, and he went to Pondicherry. And his poems were written largely in Tamil. His granddaughter translated one of the poems, and it's very nice because he would talk about nature. But even in that, when you look at the poem, there is a multi-layered thing of what he's talking about. So there is a hint of the kind of life and times they were living in and what to look out for. So I thought this poem would be interesting from the point of view of what we know of the past, where we are, how we look at life, and looking at how people kind of think of things. The poem is called Wind. So it's basically, the wind is traditionally looked at as something which causes destruction, but it also has its own nuances. And I think somewhere down the line, this was written in Tamil, and it was to evoke a sense of perhaps nationalism, or perhaps understanding of your own self-respect and waking up. And this is what the poem is about. So I'm just going to read it out. It's called Wind. Wind, come softly. Don't break the shutters of the windows. Don't scatter the papers. Don't throw down the books on the shelf. There, look what you did. You threw them all down. You tore the pages of the books. You brought rain again. You're very clever at poking fun at weaklings. Frail, crumbling houses, crumbling doors, crumbling rafters, crumbling wood, crumbling bodies, crumbling lives, crumbling hearts. The wind god winnows and crushes them all. He won't do what you tell him. So come, let's build strong homes. Let's join the doors firmly. Practice to firm the body. Make the heart steadfast. Do this and the wind will be friends with us. The wind blows out weak fires. He makes strong fires roar and flourish. His friendship is good. We praise him every day. When you read this, I'm going to try and read this out again. Just feel the nuances of what he was trying to say, because I thought it was amazing. Wind comes softly. Don't break the shutters of the windows. Don't scatter the papers. Don't throw down the books on the shelf. There, look what you did. You threw them all down. You tore the pages of the books. You brought rain again. You're very clever at poking fun at weaklings. Frail crumbling houses, crumbling doors, crumbling rafters, crumbling wood, crumbling bodies, crumbling lives, crumbling hearts. The wind god winnows and crushes them all. He won't do what you tell him. So come, let's build strong homes. Let's joint the doors firmly. Practice to firm the body, make the heart steadfast. Do this and the wind will be friends with us. The wind blows out weak fires. He makes strong fires roar and flourish. His friendship is good. We praise him every day. Thank you.
Wow. I have two things to add to this. First of all, the poem is so beautiful. And secondly, in case you didn't know, there's an Indian stamp that has been issued for him. And besides that, his grandson was my colleague in Honeywell and was the #1 engineer in quality control, and is known as Raju Dattatreya, living in Toronto or in somewhere in Canada. No, wait a minute. I'm not sure exactly where, but I'm in touch with him. I can get him in touch with you if Anju, if she wants to. Yeah, I know him very well. Raju Dattatreya, his real name is Raju Ramanathan.
Right.
And he would talk about his grandpa all the time. This is amazing, really amazing. Thank you.
Yeah. So you know how this came about? I won't take much time, but I went to Pondicherry and last weekend, and I was going through Chennai and I was seeing these buildings. I was looking at public spaces basically for some work. And then suddenly I see this, and I'm thinking about the past and the present because of the buildings, like we have the heritage buildings, etc. And the way the people are, right? And then bang, in the center of it comes SUBRAMANIAM Bharti. And then I'm like, I see his statue and I'm like, oh no, I have to say this poem.
Very good. Actually, a very nice, powerful poem.
Yeah, Amrita, it was very good and very nicely conveys how wind can play out again, one way or the other. A strong wind vis-a-vis not so strong.
It's
breeze,
also about the resilience of people, right? So if you're strong, whatever is strong will carry you with it. If you're weak, it will destroy you. But if you're strong, you will go with it.
Right. Let me give you something before we start with the next one. Let me tell you one thing very interesting about wind. Okay, nothing to do with this poem, but wind.
Right.
I saw a movie maybe in the 50s, and it is set in Second World War. But the setting is in India, and there is a building of a military headquarters. Outside, there are flowers, like go to any cantonment, you'll find a lot of flowers, manicured lawns and flowers. So there is a row of flowers, and Waha in good military style is written, please don't pluck flowers. And as the camera is rolling, there comes a huge gush of wind and knocks off these flowers. I mean, half the flowers are blown off. And then comes the title. The wind cannot read. The wind cannot read. Please Google this thing and you'll find a movie is worth seeing. So
it was a beautiful movie. I remember it.
Excellent movie.
Excellent movie.
Yeah. And the way it started was this also, the wind cannot read.
Yeah, lovely.
I thought it will be of interest to you, Amrita, since you've got something to do with your poem. Next poet is Rajiv Bhalla, Nilgiri, 1970. Now, Rajiv has spent his life in the field of law and jurisprudence as a lawyer, judge of Punjab and Haryana High Court, then in the Haryana Real Estate Regulatory Authority, and is now into arbitration. So whole life has been spent and is being spent still in the same field. And if anybody wants legal advice, he's our man. Please go to him. We have a lot of experts today. He is the man for legal advice. But he has many other hobbies too. Nature walks, gardening, some lovely flowers, pretty flowers we see every day. Photography, poetry. He carries his camera, or I don't know, it's a camera or his mobile phone, but he captures some excellent stuff when he goes for his nature walks in the morning. Poetry, prose, and so on. And poetry comes very naturally to him. And he fits the title of our poetry group perfectly, as he can write and recite in English, Urdu, Hindi, and Punjabi. I mean, he's truly multilingual, and that's the title. I don't know how many of us can do that. Most of us can't. I certainly can't. Not in all four. And then I would like to mention here, because we are all old Solarians, as the former president of the OS Society from 2017 to 2019, he has contributed a lot to the growth of the alma mater. That I can vouch for sure, because I've heard a lot of his things that he did then. And he pulled a coup of sorts, which many don't know. Amongst the various events that he used to host that time, there was a event hosted, Sonar in the Armed Forces, or something like that title. It had the armed forces in the backdrop, and it was held in Manekshaw Center. He did something which I don't think any civilian can manage. He got all three chiefs, the chief of the army staff, the then chief of the army staff, the then chief of the air staff, the then chief of the navy. He got all three defense chiefs of the Indian Defense Forces on the same platform to attend that. They attended the whole day. I missed it. I was to go, but that day I had to rush off to Chandigarh. And if that is not enough, he made them stand and sing our school song. Never given as a motto. No, I've yet to see anybody pull that off. Three chiefs not belonging to Sinar on the stage singing a wonderful song. And before I hand over to him, इनके बारे में मैंने ये लिखा था, राजीव जी हैं हमारे जज, हमेशा रहता ऊंचा इनका ध्वज, अति उत्तम है इनके विचार, छोड़ जाते हैं हमें यादगार, फोटो खींचने में हैं ये माहिर, जैसे कैमरा का हो कोई शायर. Give him a topic and he is out with his writ, sometimes sad and sometimes full of wit. I wrote it then, but mostly it is the former, the sad part. Anyway, but he writes very well. Over to you, Rajiv sir. Floor is all yours.
Thank you, sir. And very uncalled for praise, particularly on this poetry group. But well, I'll take most of it. Today's poem is in Hindi. And unlike most of my poems, which are either hard-hitting or dark, as Anjum said, and I said, don't say dark. This one's titled Ummeed Ki Lalten. Ummeed Ki Lalten is actually a metaphor for hope. But hidden within this hope is the dark soot that a lantern, if you've all used it, it darkens the glass and you don't see so clearly. So within this Ummeed Ki Lantern, there is also a little, I can't leave out my nature, there has to be a little darkness or a little amount of protest somewhere or the other. So I'll just begin it. Ummeed Ki Lalten. उम्मीद हमें भी थी, उम्मीद आपको भी है. उम्मीद हमें भी थी, उम्मीद आपको भी है. Now this is where I ask the question, पर किसकी? एक नई सुबह आएगी, रात छटेगी, कोई मूसा आएगा. Musa means a new Messiah. And as we all know, we have most false messiahs. Darwaza khatkhataega aur kahega. This is where the poem takes a little turn. एक नई बस्ती बसी है, जहां सब एक हैं, खुशहाल है, ना धर्म है ना मजहब है, ना मस्जिद है ना मंदिर. I'll just repeat these lines again. एक नई बस्ती बसी है, जहां सब एक हैं. The emphasis is on एक, खुशहाल हैं. ना धर्म है, the emphasis is on धर्म, ना मजहब है. na masjid, na mandir. And then the poem will take a different turn. पर ना वो सुबह आई, ना कोई मूसा आया, ना किसी ने दरवाजा खटखटाया, फिर क्या? I can leave it to you all to understand फिर क्या, but I have given my take on this. So before I go to that, I'll just read it again. पर ना कोई वो सुबह आई, ना कोई मूसा आया, ना किसी ने दरवाजा खटखटाया, फिर क्या? चल पड़े हम अपनी नई सुबह उगाने, चल पड़े हम अपनी नई सुबह उगाने, अपनी नई बस्ती बसाने, अपना नया घर बसाने, मंदिर और मस्जिद से दूर, उम्मीद की लालटेन लिए, अपने मंजिल की ओर, उम्मीद की लालटेन लिए. That's the end of the poem. It's the umeed ki lantern which we all carry, and we all hope that just like the lantern which has its soft light, maybe that's what pervades our life. So that's all I have to say. Thank you very much.
Excellent, Rajiv. Excellent, Rajiv. It was just too good, and the manner in which you twisted and turned and took the poem, bringing in various facets. And the title was very good also, you know, Umeed Ki Laltain. Everybody, Umeed sabko hoti hai. And somewhere you said, wo subah nahi aayi, your words to that effect. And my mind again straight went to the old song, you know, wo subah kabhi to aayegi. I think we all live in that hope.
Umeed.
Wo subah kabhi to aayegi. That's a wonderful song.
Like Umeed Ki Lantern, sir. I didn't want to copy Sahir.
No. Sahir would have copied you. Other way around.
Very nice,
Also,
Rajiv.
I have
You
to
are
say,
Very nice.
Umeed ki lantern was very good.
very nice. Rajiv, you are my role model.
so
Your views, your views, your expression, and your the way you look at things, I am quite in admiration. Thank you.
Not only
very deep.
not only how he looks at things, but how he looks also.
Right.
Oh, wow. Abdul, that was a good one.
He's dressed as a true Bulgarian. Me too. We go.
I am Vindhya, but I am giving the devil his due.
Devil, for heaven's sake.
Because you are looking like a Shivalikan today.
Nobody is better than the Shivalika. Shivalika is the best.
Today.
I wanted to say something to Justice Balla before you guys go on. Justice Balla, I really did think that this poem actually, I know that your poems are very dark when they come, but this was far more, it was very, very, all the nuances which were there for hope, you had put them in so simply that you could see the parallels you were drawing. I think this was one of your best poems I have experienced so far.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well said. Well
And
said.
also it was very deep, because you talk about Umeed Ki Laltain, you expecting somebody to show you the way, and you realize that you have to find your own. I think it was beautifully the way you wove it to come to that conclusion. Thank you. Thank you for sharing your thoughts with us. Very inspirational, very inspirational.
So there is hope in your poetry, sir.
I don't think Justice Balla like that.
This is for you for next year. Chal pade hum apni nayi subah ugane. That's the key to the poem.
Always something to do with future. Huh? So, okay, Rajiv, that was too good, yeah, honestly.
Thank you.
I loved it. I loved it. I think it was very good. Conveyed so much of meaning also. Now, Purani Kahavat hai, lucky number 7. So we come to number 7. None other than Vinay Tully, Shivalik, 1961. My one batch senior to me, but both were in prep together. That's a separate issue. But school, that is. She is the glue that binds us at this OS multilingual poetry group. She is the glue which binds us together. She keeps a benevolent eye over her flock and can marshal everybody with just one command. Vinay has been writing poetry for years now, and hopefully will come out with a book of her collections next year. Let's hope so. Her poetry and prose have a lot of depth. We've all seen that. And incidentally, I'm not sure. I mean, I'm a late entrant in this group myself, so maybe others are aware, but there'll be many others who won't. I didn't know till recently that she has recited her poetry at the New York University many years ago, where Salman Rushdie was the chief guest. Now,
Yes.
that is some achievement. That's some achievement. And in our group, Vinay is affectionately known as the Rajmata. Is the second one with a nickname. And when she wanted it shortened a bit, I had two choices. Either just go with the abbreviation RM or remove Raj and leave it as Mata, which she wouldn't have liked. She wouldn't have liked it. So I'm saying, मैं यही बोल रहा हूँ, and for good reason we chose the former. So it's RM. And इनके बारे में मैंने लिखा. I wrote two things, one much later, but this was what I wrote when I wrote everybody's. विनय है राजमाता हमारी, करती हैं कमाल की शायर व शायरी, हिंदी इंग्लिश या कोई और भाषा, सब में दिखती है अभिलाषा. इस ग्रुप की मुखिया से मत लेना पंगा, वरना पड़ेगा बम पर जोर का डंडा. जितनी करो तारीफ उतनी ही कम है, आखिर में विनय वो है और हम हैं. So Vinay, with a short recollection of what I wrote then, it's over to you, and her poem is titled Something. Yeah, again one word, something. So let's see what thing she's going to talk about.
I'm gobsmacked with all this lovely words about me, but thank you. Yes, it was really an honor to recite in front of Salman Rushdie, and that was a day to remember, no doubt about it. Okay, so my poem is called Something, and all of you have said and spoken very serious poems. Mine is serious of a different kind. It's a love poem. And Urdu Sher o Shairi and Nazms are all about love and dejection, rejection, wanting, waiting, yearning. So I thought I'd try it in English. I had a struggle. There were two poems that I wanted to make up my mind about which ones I would recite, and both were love poems. So I called my daughter-in-law and I said, read my poem and tell me which one I should. So she says, without doubt, Something. So here I go. And it is, I'm sorry, it's not profound, but it is profound to me. So Something. My heart yearns. Oh yes, my heart really yearns. But there's nothing there. An aching space, full of despair. Dark clouds so full of rain. Stony silence, filled with pain. I say to myself, don't indulge. Pull out the stops, wallow not, just get out. Shout and scream, let it all hang out. It's over and done. I'm not the only one. And they say, you know, they say, adjust, tolerate, accept. Am I the earth, rock-like, many layers deep? Am I the moon, calm and serene? Am I a mountain, head held high? Or a river running by? Like the ocean, a deep, dark mystery. I'm just me. I am just me. Feeling, hurting, cuts and wounds, crying within. I need some balm rubbed on my soul. Need to feel once more whole. Need to feel something. That's it.
It's beautiful.
Excellent. Very good.
Beautiful.
It was really good, Vinay.
I liked it.
Thanks.
Vinay, in fact, I would like a copy of this poem with please, if possible.
For sure, for
I
sure.
need someone to read it.
Definitely. So
You need somebody to read it too.
Read it
Yeah,
too.
because
Yes.
there's so much
Huh?
wisdom in
You
it.
need
That's what I wanted to
somebody
say.
to read it too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that it is not like a biographical, poem or something that I'm trying. But yes, there are times in one's life when you feel that you've been abandoned, even by people who love you, who care for you. They've all disappeared when you need them. They've all just gone and parted ways.
And sometimes they're there and they're insensitive and so they don't realize it and they're in
Yeah, but
like block-like.
why do people feel that when you talk like this, they say, no, you should tolerate. What is there? After all, they're not just feeling, they're you, they're actually you, they're part of you. So yes, this is about heartache. Maybe I should have called it heartache.
No,
So
no, your words, your words are
Wonderful,
very evocative indeed.
Thank you so much.
It's a beautiful poem, and I think imagery used was very good.
Thank you. Thank you, Amrita.
The title is just right. Don't change it.
I won't change it. I won't.
Title is very good. It
Thank
matched
you.
what followed. So thanks, Vinay.
Thank you.
And now we go to Kamar Dhinsa. He's Vindhya, 1999. So we have 3 Vindhyans today, by the way, as against 1 Shivalikan and 1 Himalayan. Okay. After graduating from St. Xavier's, Calcutta, he did his master's in USA and then worked as an investment banker in US and Canada. He has since returned to India and is a financial consultant. So he's yet another expert. So all those are looking to make some good moolah, he is the go-to person. Please go to him and maybe you can end up with a lot of money in the year or two with his advice. His impressive height and physique, as I said, gives me an inferiority complex. He's not a person to be messed with. He'll make mincemeat of anybody who crosses his path. Well, he is next, and he'll recite an English poem titled 2611 Mumbai Attacks. It's something which you all remember. So it's over to you, Kamar.
Thank you so much, sir, for this kind introduction. I don't think I deserve even half of it, but you are very generous with your words. Really appreciate it. And thank you so much for this opportunity to present. I'm one of the newest entrants and also probably the youngest in terms of the batch over here. But I already seem to, connect with everyone and love what you guys are doing over here. So hats off to you, the wonderful work you're doing. And the poem, I wrote this in 2008. This was at the time when there were attacks in Mumbai in 2611. I knew some people personally and even otherwise who were stuck in these, odd life-threatening situations that really made me feel very helpless. And, my heart just went out to them. And this is something I penned down. And this was the first poem I actually wrote. So not taking too much of your time, here I start. 2611, Mumbai attacks. Getting over the haunting fear after seeing the death so near. Getting over the haunting fear after seeing the death so near. The roads I thought were my own and could count on every stone. Commercial capital for some, but it was a magical city for everyone. A feather in the cap of my country, an envy for the neighboring country. It was tip of India's growth and was hope for every scope. When we saw the bullets pass by, every considered it to be a lie. The roads I thought were my own and could count on every stone. But the blood and the desperate screams were the axe on my dreams. The country woke up in a shock as the civilized world had been rocked. Everyone felt the pain as the innocent blood went down the drain. Our leaders stood in shame as the country understood their game. Masses had a new fire. The country had to be rewired. Corruption had got the better of my nation and was killing every aspiration. People had to take the blame for enduring the dirty game. Masses had a new fire. The country had to be rewired. But can we actually unite for the tough fight? Or are we going to turn a blind eye and let this opportunity pass by? So let's not forget what happened then. And let's look at our leadership and our systems and our people in place, what they can do and what they should be doing. And let's reassess. Let's not forget the sacrifices. This is what this poem is all about. Thank you.
Very moving. It brings some things to life.
Yes, it was a horrifying incident, and you've captured it very well.
It was, Kamar, as I mentioned last time too, it's a dark event in our history. And none of us is forgotten because it went on for 3-4 days. And, at 4 or 5 points in Mumbai, and had that one single man not been captured, we wouldn't even have got probably to the bottom of what happened. And I had in this personal, what should I say, experience of how it can affect you sitting far away, because my son and his wife, they were staying in the tip of Colaba, not far from that Jewish Shabbat house, very close in time. And the shots, and they could hear clearly the bang, bang, bang which was going on. And initially they thought fireworks, and thereafter it became clear when the TV was put on that this is what's happening, and they all locked down and so on. And they remained in that kind of a stage for the next 2-3 days till things, still all these guys were killed actually. And I remember we had gone for dinner in Delhi, and we were coming back, and we got a call en route from him somewhere near Shiv Murti, and he said this is what's happening. And then it was all panic stations. So you captured that event very, very well in this poem. And you are right. I think it's time to do some kind of course correction, and we need stronger leadership. Firstly, such like things shouldn't happen, and if they happen, then we should be able to deal with it. So I think it was very good. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you so much.
I just want to also add that, of course, it's beautifully written, but you've recited it so well. You've emphasized and repeated certain phrases which really bring out the point of this whole poem. Beautifully written, Kaman.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate that. It was thanks to the rehearsal we had the other day, and Justice Bhalla and General Sandhu and Vinay, they all gave me very good inputs. Initially, my skills weren't so good, so I had been practicing thanks to their advice.
You're welcome.
Thanks for naming me, though I don't think I gave much advice that day. But I remember Justice Bhalla and a few others who were telling you, and I think today, the way you recited it, she's absolutely right. It's very well recited. It's not easy, the pitch, the tone, and all the way you did it today. So it was a good poem, poetry-wise, of a bad incident, sad incident, but and recited so well. So thanks a lot once again.
Thank you.
Balbir, you want to say something?
Can I just add something?
Yeah, please.
If you've all seen the types of poems we have, that's why we write sans borders. So there's no topic which is taboo.
Absolutely right. They're everything.
Very
all
nice.
All kinds of subjects addressed, and very good.
Lovely cover. Cover is a very deep guy. He's into meditation, and he does a lot of chanting, and he's a very soulful, spiritual person. Just adding in, a very, very dear buddy of mine.
Thank you. He's my meditation partner. It's been a while since we've been together, but that's what we would do in Toronto together.
So thanks a lot. And now we have the last recitation of the evening. And the person who's going to recite is Pankaj Sabru, Himalaya, 1983 batch. Pankaj needs no introduction. He is known by many and heard of by many more. In fact, the last category, I belong to that. Of course, now I know him. But even before we came into contact, I'd heard of him. Even before that, because I'd heard a lot about his photography. And I'd also seen some of the imagery of Sonar, where, the credits were given to a person known as Pankaj Sabru, whom I till then not met. Pankaj graduated in economics honors and mathematics, if you please. Tough one, maths. And later did his MBA from the prestigious Jamnalal Bajaj Institute of Management Studies. He had an excellent career working with world-class petroleum downstream companies, many of them. And after that, he settled in Pune, and amongst other hobbies that he follows is his passion, photography. And I must say he's a top-class photographer. I think all of us on that will certainly agree. So I think most of us have seen his. Pankaj will be reciting a poem of the poet of the day, that is Ashok Chakradhar, titled, loosely titled, I would say, Beer Ki Botal. It's something to do with beer in a bottle. So Beer Ki Botal. And it's all yours, Pankaj. Over to you.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, sir. Thank you for this opportunity. The poem I'm reciting today, I'd heard this first when I was in college. And in those days, I used to be a regular at all these inter-college festivals. And I heard another regular recite this one in a particular competition. I was so moved by this poem that I went up to him after the competition, requested him to share this with me, which he did. And it so happened that in the next competition that I went to, this guy was missing. He, for some reason, wasn't attending. And so I was ready and I recited that poem and bagged the first prize. So it's been 37 years since then when I first recited it. I still remember it entirely. But I'd sincerely hoped that after 4 decades, the subject would no longer be relevant. Unfortunately, it still is. But more on that later when we come to the poem. A brief intro of the poet. He was born as Ashok Sharma in Khurja, Bulandshahr, famous for his Khurchan. His father, Radhesham, was a well-known Hindi poet of his time. Chakradhar went on to become the HOD of Hindi in Jamia Millia, then the Hindi coordinator at the Institute of Lifelong Learning, Delhi University, and finally the vice chairman of Hindi Academy, Government of Delhi. In 2014, he was awarded the Padam Shri. Incidentally, he is married to Kaka Hathrasi, another stalwart in Hindi Hasya Kavita, Kaka Hathrasi's daughter. So, ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Ashok Chakradhar's Beer Ki Botal. बहुत दिनों से मन में था कि किसी एक दिन जरा ढंग से कुछ मौज मस्ती से जीऊं। बहुत दिनों से मन में था कि किसी एक दिन जरा ढंग से कुछ मौज मस्ती से जीऊं, एक बोतल ठंडी ठंडी बियर पीऊं। एक बोतल ठंडी ठंडी बियर पीऊं, लेकिन फिर फैसला किया कि बियरबाजी उसी दिन होगी जिस दिन अखबार में एक भी औरत के जल के मर जाने की खबर नहीं होगी। जिस दिन अखबार में एक भी औरत के जल के मर जाने की खबर नहीं होगी। महीनों बीत गए भाई साहब, महीनों बीत गए भाई साहब। रोजाना अखबार देखता हूं, एक नहीं दो नहीं कईयों के मरने की खबर आती है और मेरी बियर रह जाती है। और मेरी बियर रह जाती है, क्या करूं, कहां जाऊं, कैसे इन नासपीटी करमजली औरतों को समझाऊं कि घास फूस की तरह इस तरह रोजाना मत चलो। अरे कम वक्तों, हफ्ते में ना सही, महीने में तो एक दिन मेरी बियर की खातिर नागा कर लो। अरे क्या बिगड़ जाएगा तुम्हारा अगर एक दिन के लिए छोड़ दोगी, सिर्फ एक दिन के लिए मौत से मुंह मोड़ लोगी। लेकिन कैसी मिन्नत और कैसी गुहार, लेकिन कैसी मिन्नत और कैसी गुहार, अंधी घाटियों की नाकारा पुकार, धकाधक जलती हैं, धुआंधार जलती हैं, रोजाना जलती हैं, लगातार जलती हैं। एक तो इसलिए जली क्योंकि दहेज नहीं था, साथ में पूरा लगेज नहीं था। दूसरी के पास मरने का एक और बहाना था, यही कि पति का किसी और से याराना था। तीसरी को उसकी सास पीटती थी, डंडों से मारती थी, घसीटती थी। एक का पति उसके पास नहीं आता था, अपना सारा पैसा किसी और पे लुटाता था। और एक तो इसलिए मरी क्योंकि पैसे ही नहीं थे, अपने या पति के कैसे भी नहीं थे। माना कि इन सब में हालात की मजबूरी है, आपने माना कि इन सब में हालात की मजबूरी है, लेकिन मूर्खों जलना क्या जरूरी है? अरे सामने आती सबको ठिकाने लगाती, सास अगर पीटती थी तो उसे खाने में जुलाब दे देती। अगर वो जाती रहती तो पीटती कब? सास अगर पीटती थी तो उसे खाने में जुलाब दे देती, पति को क्लोरोफॉर्म का गुलाब दे देती। अरे वो कहीं जाता था तो तुम भी चली जाती, वो कहीं जाता था तो तुम भी चली जाती। आत्महत्या वो करता, तुम तो ना कर पाती, और तुम ना कर पाती तो मैं बियर तो पीता। एक दिन तो जरा ढंग से जीता। लेकिन भाई साहब, इस देश का कानून भी बड़ा महान है। यहां पर हत्या को आत्महत्या सिद्ध करना कितना आसान है। और मैं तो हैरान हूं इस देश के स्टोव और चूल्हों से। ये सिर्फ बहुओं को पहचानते हैं, कभी किसी सास को नहीं जलाते। और ये पुलिस भी मेरी कभी कोई मदद नहीं करती है। जब सब कुछ हो चुकता है ना, उसी वक्त पहुंचती है। पुलिस वालों को मेरी एक सलाह है, पुलिस वालों को मेरी एक सलाह है कि प्रत्येक नवविवाहित जोड़े पर एक एक पुलिसमैन तैनात किया जाए, जो साल भर तक उनके संबंधों की रिपोर्ट लेकर आए, क्या चल रहा है बताएगा। और क्योंकि रिपोर्ट बेहद माइन्यूट होगी, इसलिए पुलिसमैन को खिड़की से झांकने की छूट होगी। मोहब्बत हो या लड़ाई ये बताएंगे, और हत्या और आत्महत्या दोनों होने से बचाएंगे। लेकिन नहीं नहीं, मैं अपना सुझाव वापस लेता हूं, मैं अपना सुझाव विड्रॉ करता हूं। अरे मैंने भी क्या आइडिया परोसा है, भला पुलिस का भी क्या भरोसा है। ये नए नए जोड़ों को धमकाएंगे, इतना पैसा खिलाओ वरना रिपोर्ट में झगड़ा दिखाएंगे। इसलिए पुलिस से नहीं, मैं तुमसे कहता हूं मेरी प्यारी नादान महिलाओं, मैं तुम्हारा इस तरह जलना सह नहीं सकता हूं। अरे एक दिन तो मुझे जरा ढंग से जी लेने दो, एक बोतल ठंडी ठंडी बियर पी लेने दो। एक सेठ जी बड़े मौजी थे, हमारे मित्र कम पड़ोसी थे। उन्हें हमारी घोषणा का पता था, लेकिन बेटे की शादी में भारी दहेज लिया था, यह हमें अखरता था। एक दिन खबर मिली कि सेठ जी की बहू भी तेल छिड़क कर मर गई। हमने माथा फटका, लो अगले दिन की बियर भी गई। कल के अखबारों में समाचार होगा और हमें उसके अगले कल का इंतजार होगा। लेकिन आश्चर्य की बात, सुबह सुबह सेठ जी ने हमारे किवाड़ खोले और मुस्कुराते हुए बोले, लीजिए भाई साहब बियर की बोतल। आज अखबार में एक भी औरत के जल के मर जाने की खबर नहीं है। आज अखबार में एक भी औरत के जल के मर जाने की खबर नहीं है। हमने कहा ये कैसे हो सकता है, ये आज का अखबार नहीं है। वे बोले अखबार तो आज ही का है, समाचार नहीं आया, मामला राज का है। तो चक्रधर कहता है, तो वाह रे मेरे देश के अखबारों, तो वाह रे मेरे देश के अखबारों, क्या इस तरह सत्य को छुपाकर मुझे बियर पिलाओगे। मेरे मन में आया कि सेठ जी को धड़क दूं, बियर की बोतल में मिट्टी का तेल क्यों नहीं हुआ जो छिड़क दूं। मैं नहीं पीऊंगा, मैं हरगिज नहीं पीऊंगा, मैं कतई नहीं पीऊंगा। और अब तो लगता है ये मेरे पेट में उसी दिन जाएगी जिस दिन इस देश में कोई ऐसी व्यवस्था आएगी जो महिलाओं को जलने से बचाएगी, जो महिलाओं को मरने से बचाएगी। थैंक यू।
That was excellent.
Excellent. Excellent.
Brilliant.
What a
Delivered.
poem.
Wow. What a thought.
That
What
was
a poem.
delivered, I mean, very well. Amazing.
Yeah, 37 years of experience.
And I think the topic also was very interesting, the way the play happened, right? I mean, there's something very serious, but at the same time, the way it was delivered, each line, oh my God.
I agree. It had like a thread of humor as well in it.
It was very difficult.
It just
No.
kept, had many layers. It just kept going deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper into the problem. Like you're helpless.
Exactly.
Oh God.
And also the way Pankaj had kind of recited it.
He recited it, yeah.
The entire story.
So well.
और जो
Very
लोग
simply,
पंकज को
just
जानते
said it
हैं,
simply.
and those who know Pankaj, it's almost like his story.
Who doesn't know him, by the way?
Yeah.
Pankaj, you chose the right poet. You chose the right poem. You narrated it beautifully, as everybody has said.
Beautiful.
And you know, it was half the battle is in narration, and you, I think, the way you know, what should I say, sometimes in this, 2-3 sentences in a row, sometimes pause, sometimes something else. And as it went on, you could make out that this man wants to drink beer for sure, but only if his self, you can say.
That's why I never drink beer now.
Sorry? Are you having beer or whiskey?
No, sir, I only drink rum.
That's why he's saying, that's why he doesn't have beer.
You are having an army man's drink.
Yes, sir.
So
I plug the.
Is it Old Monk or Hercules? Which was it?
Old Monk, sir, Old Monk.
Ah, there you go.
There was a time when we were in the Air Force, when the officers' mess was not allowed to keep rum. It was only meant for the other ranks. So it was very difficult to get hold of a bottle of Old Monk at that time.
But you know one thing.
Other rank, so I get it.
I'll tell you one very interesting thing. When many years ago, when I was serving still, I was a brigadier doing the NDC course, and we go on foreign tours. So my group was going amongst other places to Ghana, and the Ghana Army chief had done the NDC course here earlier, many years earlier, and he sent a message. He says, "और कुछ नहीं, लेकिन 3-4 पेटियां Old Monk की please लेके आओ. Please bring it along with you." So we all carried, jointly, of course. And since we were a group, so we could go fast. And those days there were no checks either, taking booze here and there. But he wanted, that's how they, yearned for Old Monk. Old Monk is an all-time. I don't drink rum, by the way. I never touch rum. But I know it's you are on the right one.
Fantastic.
And I think that also contributed somewhat to your narration today.
To the beer.
That's why I asked you the time. I had to take it easy till then.
I caught on. By the way, I caught on. When you asked me, I had caught on. So,
General Sandhu,
that was very good.
Do you have any time for some newcomers?
Yes, of course.
Yes.
Please.
Yeah.
The first poem that I would like to share with you is in English. Title is COVID Blues. Depleted we live, absent voices without echoes. We are not us anymore. Death shall have no dominion, defies a poet. Death shall have no dominion, defies a poet. But death needs no dominion, being with us always, punctuating every day, dawn and twilight. I search and search in every blue petal for some transcendence that would restore for a fleeting while the grace that haloed us, that stands depleted, restorable no more. We are not us anymore. And the other poem that I would like to share with you is in Hindi Urdu, if I may, is called Ru Baru. Ru Baru Hindi Urdu में कहते हैं आमने सामने को, लेकिन जिस लहजे से मैं लिख रहा हूँ वो है कि without pretenses and without pretensions जब इंसान रूबरू होता है उसका जिक्र कर रहा हूँ. वक्त के हर लम्हे में तन्हाइयाँ सदियों की हैं. वक्त के हर लम्हे में तन्हाइयाँ सदियों की हैं. इन ही लम्हों की तरह अनगिनत राहों को तरसाए हुए वक्त के एक मोड़ पर हम खड़े हैं रूबरू. वक्त के एक मोड़ पर हम खड़े हैं रूबरू. किन आसमानों में उड़ानों की थकन, किन दलदली दहलीजों पे आवो गमन तेरी आंखों में है, मेरे सांसों में है कि वक्त के इस मोड़ पर अब खड़े हैं रूबरू. एक थकन, एक चुभन. फिर भी मुझे यकीन है कि सदियों से छीन कर इसी लम्हे से थाम लेंगे हम तन्हाइयों के ये सफर। फिर भी मुझे यकीन है कि सदियों से छीन कर इसी लम्हे से थाम लेंगे हम तन्हाइयों के ये सफर। और लम्हा लम्हा दूर होगी दूरी जो है अब रूबरू। और लम्हा लम्हा दूर होगी दूरी जो है अब रूबरू। और वक्त की नई दहलीज पर, और वक्त की नई दहलीज पर सुकून बने तेरी थकन, मेरी चुभन से तेरे सुमन, मेरी चुभन से तेरे सुमन। Thank you.
Wow, that was
Thank you very much.
Amazing, Balbir.
I think Balbir, you should join us.
You should join,
our
yes.
circle. Yeah.
We'll open with you next time, sir.
Sir, I'm
Thank you.
not joking, sir. Seriously, you should send
No,
us to Gulzar or someone.
तू तो बुल्लिश है यार.
Open with you,
Brilliant, sir.
provided you don't run away.
You are
That's
you
beautiful.
run away, you must
You
join.
have,
Do join us.
no, Balbir, no.
Thank you.
We consider him as joined, and
Yes.
he's debuted with 2 points today. So he's one
Very
of us
good.
now. Excellent, sir.
Lovely.
Well done, Balbir.
Thank you.
It was very good.
Nice.
See,
Very
it's,
nice.
it's the 1950s that are taking it away, looks like.
Yes.
Today,
Are beating us hands down. So
Not
Yeah.
at all. Rajiv, I can't tell you how much your poem touched me. I mean, I didn't have a chance to express it, but it was absolutely beyond phenomenal. Because you hit the nail on the head, you know. We can't distinguish between spirituality and religion. Spirituality is goodness, and religion says, I'm better than you. That's where all this stuff comes in. So your poem, my goodness, man, you beat us hollow. What are you talking about?
no. We've got a long way to go. It's the 50s that take it, I think.
No, not at all.
We also have Surjit, sir, who's joined.
Hello, Surjit. How are you? Do unmute yourself.
Hi,
Hi,
everybody.
Surjit. Yeah, hi.
Yeah, I unfortunately I haven't met any of you, but it was nice to listen to the poems today, and I was very pleased to see Balbir on the line. Balbir is my cousin uncle. He is my
Wow.
father's cousin, and he passed out in 55.
That's
And
right.
there were four of us Bassins. There were four of us Bassins at that time in school. And
So,
and
sir,
I
you guys are the
graduated in 60, Nilgiri. We were all in Nilgiri.
You're the
Oh,
Tau.
yes, Nilgiri.
Yes,
Oh,
the
Nilgiri.
Tau.
Yeah.
Thanks to,
I was the first.
thanks
They
to
know
Balbir, we are the
symbolic,
Tau.
yeah,
Yes,
Tau Junior, Tau Senior.
right. Yeah. After he left, Savinder became Tau Senior and I was Tau Junior. And that is still stuck with me. My classmates still call me by that name.
Which year did you pass out?